Hey, Quants, just another quick follow-up on Bitcoin. It looks like we're getting some significant push through right now. After seeing how the market was reacting this morning, I thought we might get a turnaround on yesterday's candle and just a total dump out to continue lower. But we did get a close. If you remember, I was talking about the oscillator painting green here. We did get that one green close. It looks like we may. Obviously, it's very early in the day, so you can't really rely on this. But it looks like we may get a second green close on the MACD, and then we'd have the stochastics pointing up, the knife's turned green, and well, one of the stochastics is pointing up, and that could be good for further continuation. And ultimately, the biggest thing that I'm looking at here is that we're continuing to hold above the 200s, which is what I primarily would be looking for continued bullishness on the kind of on the longer time frame from a TA, just a traditional TA perspective. So that is looking all good. Let's touch on a few other things here. This is just kind of like an amalgamation of stuff. So the PA pivots indicator, I did talk about that before. I don't really want all this opened here, so let me close this. And I created a line there. So I just enabled that. And if you recall, I did say that very frequently I'll see those line up with the Gann swing indicator 2-bar or the 2-bar method. And so I just wanted to highlight that here. So what we're seeing here is that the last PA pivot's high is at the same high as the last 2-bar swing from a Gann swing indicator perspective. So this would be an opportunity to, on a very simplistic Gann strategy, using only the Gann swing indicator, to go long. I did mention in the past that when I was kind of describing that, if another potential strategy would have been to add to your, would have been to go long right after the high or the top of this candle was broken, that I'm hovering over right here. So that was on the 16th of October. Obviously, going long there would have looked good in hindsight. Of course, these are things you probably want to test out if there are strategies you're considering implementing. I will say I have not found those to be the best strategies, but from a simplistic strategy standpoint, they are profitable. They tend to keep you safe, but they can also have a lot of volatility with them depending on which method you're using. If you were just looking at this one right here at the recent pivot high, if we're going to go long at that point in time, you're obviously waiting for quite a while before we get above that position, unless we just throw in some kind of an omega candle here or God candle here where we pump $10,000 in a single candle, which is not impossible at all. But even so, after you see a major pump like that, I would expect to see accompanying volume with that. And it might not be the best idea to buy at that point because there's likely to be a pullback, but simple strategy to test nonetheless. And from my own experience, I've found those to be profitable, although not necessarily the best strategies to follow if you're looking for maximizing overall profits. Still, if you're new to the game, definitely something to look at and start off with. So I just wanted to kind of highlight that the PA pivots up there and also the alignment with the 2-bar swing Gann swing indicator. So I'm going to hide that. And then the other thing is, I didn't touch on this last time, so I'm going to touch on it this time, was the strategy. Oh, before I go there, actually, let's look at the moons. So we did just print a bear moon. So in the past, the bear moon has not been good, and so it looks like I'm not going too far back. They don't always play out. Here's one right here where it printed on a green candle. We got a little bit of sideways consolidation before continuation up, but obviously this is just a very small picture, so there's something to test, which you can do very simply if you're using the skeleton key from the Quant Prime AI service. Looking at these, we have these last three we did see downwards movement after the bear moon printed. That was on a red candle. I just want to look, red candle, Red candle, I don't know. That might be something interesting to test to see if how different it changes if it prints on a bear candle, and I say bear candle, but like just a red candle versus a green candle. That might be something interesting. I'm just looking at this. Maybe that's a test I'll throw together. This one was on a red candle. This one, where it consolidated, was actually on a green candle, and we are currently on a green candle. So if this is still early in the day, but if we were to close here, it might be interesting to see how that plays out if you play that against whether it's a green candle or a red candle based on the closing of that candle and the printing of the bear bull moon, to see how those play out. So wanted to mention the moons, and then I didn't mention this was that strategy I had been following up on for the weekly strategy. So I'm ticking down to the hour time frame just so that I know that I'm getting the close on the candle that I want. And so when I close down here, this one was a loss. Let's see how big of a loss it was, 0.63. So we've had 2 losses in a row, 3 losses in a row before. Ooh, there's a lot of losses in a row. So ultimately this, it's not about a single trade, right? It's about the probabilities. And obviously just looking at this isn't necessarily the best strategy to play, but it is a profitable strategy. Nonetheless, it wins more than it loses, which is, even though it's going very sideways here, something to consider. So I just wanted to touch on this because I didn't mention it yesterday. However, I did look at it myself. I just spaced it out when I was recording yesterday's video. So we saw this strategy play out again. However, it didn't win, right? And again, I did mention, maybe that's something worth, just as a matter of interest, it might be interesting to, instead of closing this at midnight on Monday or the very beginning of Tuesday, it might be worth backing this up a bit and trying to close it at like 10 o'clock or something like that. Of course, that's the time zone I'm using. And just see if that ultimately is more profitable. And to be fair, it's just more fun to watch it when it's more profitable, although this is still generally working out. So I'll leave it there for today. I'm looking forward to seeing how today closes. Obviously, I would like to see this close on a green candle and continue to see price push up, which would help confirm, which would then confirm some of the what we typically see with continuation with the MACD here, and then potentially a stochastic on a daily time frame. And then I'll be looking up here at this top line for a target if that's going to happen. Again, longer time frame, just in the next month or two. If I'm using those fibs that I had pointed out before, I'm not drawing them right now, I'd be looking closer to like 149 or something like that. But that obviously I won't even be looking at that until I see some break of this trend right here, which has been holding the last 3 times. So hope you all having a good day, and peace out, quants.